It's time for Uprising Obsidian review. It's time for Uprising Obsidian review.
Titans Ed here, back to do another video review, and we're reviewing another Pacific Rim Uprising robot Damashis, Obsidian Fury. Now this is the, I guess you could say, main bad guy mech of Pacific Rim Uprising. And, well, he has probably two of the best fights in the entire movie involving giant robots. He's a little lacking in character development. For those who don't want to have the movie spoiled for one of the plots, I would recommend turning the video off now and going to watch the movie. Obsidian Fury is a drone Jaeger, but is controlled using a cloned kaiju mind, which is really interesting when you think about it. I really do love the way Obsidian Fury looks. It's one of the reasons I picked up the figure, besides also it gives me another figure to pose with Gypsy Avenger in, like I said, two of the best battles in the entire movie. Not saying the final battle wasn't also pretty epic, but I prefer mech versus mech rather than mech versus kaiju, personally. You know, Obsidian Fury's look is really up in the shoulders and chest area where I kind of like it the most. His legs aren't bad, but the big exposed pipes like that, I feel like that would be an easily exploitable design flaw. But I really love the head sculpt on this guy. And it kills me the fact that when this isn't in a low... when the lighting I use now, it looks really good. I wish that this had light piping of some kind. Because a light source gleaming through this faceplate would just pop so well over this, all the black on him. And he really looks good. Now, there's something I've been meaning to bring up about these Pacific Rim figures that I kept out of the Gypsy Avenger because that figure doesn't really do it, but this figure and a lot of the other mech designs from Pacific Rim Uprising have something that clearly shows that Guillermo del Toro wasn't as involved in this movie as he was in the first one. All of the mechs seem to actually reference previous mech design, reference other mechs from other series, I should say. Sorry. Case in point, while they're not mecha, the way the shoulder pads are designed kind of remind me of Cylons from Battlestar Galactica. He's very interesting. He almost even has something of a Sentinel look in some ways. So it's just something I kind of noticed when looking at the other mech designs. It clearly looks like they have some more influence in, something that Guillermo del Toro was actually trying to move away from in Pacific Rim. They seem to have gone back to in Uprising, which is a little disconcerting. Now, Obsidian Fury is just as posable as Gypsy Avenger, despite the neck collar armor and the shoulder pads, which are a little awkward. Speaking of those shoulder pads, they're very interesting. Now, I didn't show it on Gypsy Avenger, but those shoulder pads are actually attached to the ball joints that are attached to the arms to the torso. Not so much with Obsidian Fury. They're actually attached on the stem on the behind the joint that holds the shoulder in place. Now, it's a pretty cool idea. The one downside is the way it's designed. Trying to push this up pops them out, which is a little annoying. To top it off, the other issue, and probably that clicking you're hearing, is the way they cut the shoulders. Now, I cannot understand why they cut them this specific way, when you can even tell from the mech's design, the sculpt that they gave him shows where they could have had a more natural cut. And I just don't understand why they gave the shoulder so many jagged edges to have to work around. I feel like a more natural cut following the armor's design would have made a lot more sense. I just feel like this way it's restricting it in a way that I feel like could break the figure if you're not careful. Now, Obsidian Fury, for his price, is a little sparse on the accessory count as compared to Gypsy Avenger, because Gypsy Avenger is $20. His accessory count kind of matches that. Unfortunately, with Obsidian Fury, it does feel like you're getting a lot less than you should. Besides his weapons, you also get a pair of blade open hands for some reason. I don't see a need for this other than having Obsidian Fury copy Gypsy Avenger and Gypsy Danger's signature pose, or trying to mimic Iron Man's repulsor hands. I feel like these accessories really should have been left out. There really wasn't a need to have open hands for this figure, at least. To be honest, I would have preferred a set of hands that had the plasma blasters he had in the movie. Or the plastic going towards a second pair of shoulder pads, which had the missile pods that the shoulder pads housed in there. And one other accessory I kind of wish they had, and I don't understand why they didn't do it, because I feel like the way they designed the figure, they could have done it without issue, is that in the movie, he has a secret. He's, unlike a lot of the newer Jaegers in the movie, Obsidian Fury, just like Gypsy Danger and Gypsy Avenger, is analog powered with a nuclear engine, with a nuclear engine in his chest, which is covered up when he doesn't use it as a weapon. I really feel like, given all the mass that right here, and I feel like they could have put that in there, just a piece you could have popped out. Now, speaking of popping out pieces, it does come, however, with these very lovely plasma chainsaws. Oh, yes. When these things first popped out in the movie, I was absolutely blown away. They are so cool. It is literally a chainsaw that is on fire. And these things are wrist mounted. Let me show you how you do that. You take, let me see. You pop the arm guard off here, and it's just right there. I do kind of wish they had maybe put some detail in the arm underneath here. And it looks like they started to and then just stopped, which kind of stinks. I kind of wish they put just a little bit of, just some like wire detail at least. And you find the proper blade, you put that on top of there, and then you fit the arm guard back on there, and boom! He's armed up. And yes, he does come with two, so he can dual wield. And I feel like this... and this is why I question why they took the chain sword, the second chain sword from Gypsy Avenger. 'Cause look how cool this is! Seriously! Now that's what I'm talking about. This is why I love this figure and this is why I feel like the $30 price tag just about justifies it. Just about. Like I said, I kind of wish instead of the open hands, they'd given us a second pair of hands that just had the plasma blaster built into the back of the wrists, like in the movie, which I think were coming from the back of his wrists. Maybe they were coming from these parts. I don't remember now. I know it was coming from somewhere in his arm. He had not only the plasma chainsaws, but he had the plasma blaster too, which is really cool. And these look great. Now, they are missing a little bit of detail, as the chainsaw itself really should be painted, but I'll let it go given the fact, again, this is a Japanese company attempting to make American budget toys, so sacrifices had to be made. Now, I know a lot of you are asking, why are we looking at his back? Well, two reasons. Just like the others, you can pop this part out, and that gives him a port for an Act 5 Bandai Tanahashi Act 5 stage you can use. But another reason is a public service announcement to all future owners of Obsidian Fury. Now, I don't know how this is going to show. This might show up pretty well, actually. I can get it to focus. Might not. Well, if you can see those two bits right there to his spinal column. Be very wary of crunching his back, his back without doing it this way. Because if you do it this way, you'll end up stripping, as you can see, two parts of his spinal column's little rib bits right off. So make sure when you're bending his back, you make sure not to strip those out. Because, yeah, that sucks. I didn't know I was doing that until the other day, and it really sucks. Yeah. In conclusion, the Robot Spirits Pacific Rim Uprising Obsidian Fury is definitely worth picking up if you've already got the Gypsy Avenger, which was obviously the cheaper figure. Man, I really can't talk tonight. I definitely feel like it's a great bad guy mech to pick up with him if you want something for him to want Gypsy Avenger to be fighting something. I definitely think he's worth it. Other than that, this is Titan Zed saying I'll see you when I see you.